A Festival of Trees, An Adventure in Israel, from Disney's Small World Library. Disney's Small World Library presents A Festival of Trees, An Adventure in Israel. Grandma and Donald were on their way to visit Grandma's friends who lived on a kibbutz in Israel. "I can't wait for the Tu B'Shvat celebration tomorrow," said Grandma. "What's that?" asked Donald, who was always interested in a celebration. "It's a tree planting holiday," said Grandma. "Everyone works together to plant a new grove of trees." "Well, I can't wait to relax in the sun," said Donald, as he stared out the window at a sandy beach. "Yes, sirree, this vacation is exactly what I need." "I wouldn't count on having too much time to relax," Grandma told Donald. "After all, we are going to a kibbutz. We'll have to live like everyone else in the community, like one big family. Everything on a kibbutz, the horses, tractors, buildings, and land, belongs to everyone. There's lots of work to do." "Work!" cried Donald in protest. "Of course," said Grandma. "Everyone has to do his or her share. People cook together, eat together, and clean up together." "And play together?" asked Donald hopefully. "Of course," said Grandma. "But with a holiday coming up, everyone's bound to be especially busy preparing for it." Soon the bus arrived at the kibbutz. "Shalom!" cried a man and woman as soon as they spotted Grandma. "Shalom" means peace. That's how you say hello in Israel, Grandma told Donald. Then she gave her friends a hug. "Donald, I'd like you to meet David and Sarah," she said. "Shalom, David. Shalom, Sarah," said Donald. David and Sarah led their guests on a tour around the kibbutz. Grandma and Donald saw orchards and gardens, barns and stables, and a large water tower. There was a swimming pool, too. "That's where I'll be spending my time," thought Donald happily. After a good night's sleep, Donald and Grandma joined David and Sarah for breakfast the next morning. "Did you sign up for the tree planting contest?" David asked Donald. "No," said Donald. "I was thinking about going swimming today." "Isn't there a prize for the person who plants the most trees?" asked Grandma. "You might have a chance to win it, Donald." Donald's ears perked up. "There's a prize? Then maybe I will sign up after all," he said. After breakfast, everyone split up into special work groups. David took Donald and Grandma to a rocky area of the kibbutz. "This is where the tree planting contest will take place," said David. "Our first job is to clear away these rocks." Everyone pitched in eagerly. "If we all work together, we'll be finished in a jiffy," said Grandma. To make the time pass quickly, they all began to sing. Donald wasn't in the mood for singing. He was hoping for a real vacation. Grumbled Donald under his breath. If I wanted to work, I would have stayed home." Donald cleared away a rock or two. Then, when no one was looking, he sneaked off to the pool. Donald found a comfortable lounge chair in the sun. Just as he began to doze off, he felt a tap on his shoulder. "Hi, I'm Ruth," said a woman. Donald looked up. There, standing before him, was a woman with a group of children. "The group leader for these children is sick today," said Ruth, "and David suggested that you might be able to take her place." "Well, I was planning to," said Donald, but he was unable to come up with an excuse fast enough. "Okay," he agreed reluctantly. "Thank you so much," said Ruth, handing him the plan book. "Have a wonderful day." After all the children had introduced themselves, Donald glanced at the plan book. "Let's start by picking some oranges," he told the children. "Then later we can eat them with lunch." When they got to the orange grove, Donald watched while the children happily began picking the fruit. "You shouldn't pick oranges one by one," Donald told the group. "That will take all day. Now, watch how I do it." He reached up, grabbed a big branch, and gave it a healthy shake. "Uh-oh," cried Donald. "It's raining oranges!" He covered his head and fell to the ground. The children laughed and hurried to help him up. "I think it's time to do something else," said Donald, grinning sheepishly. "We can gather eggs from the chickens," said Sheila. "That's a good idea," Donald said. "Let's see who can fill a basket first." Donald and the children all hurried to the farmyard and began gathering the eggs. "This is a snap," thought Donald. When his basket was full, he ran over to show the children, but he tripped over a stool. The eggs went flying up in the air, and most of them landed right on Donald. "I guess I've really got egg on my face now," said Donald as he cleaned himself off. "I think it's time for music." The children led him to the children's house. Ben proudly showed Donald the dormitory where the children lived together. "It's as though we're all brothers and sisters here," said Seth. "Each night a different set of parents sleeps here with us, so it's like having lots of parents too." "And you should see the great pillow fights we have," added Rebecca. "We're supposed to practice a holiday dance for the Tu B'Shvat celebration," said Donald, looking at the plan book. "I know just the music we should use." With that, he pulled a tape of his favorite rock group out of his pocket and put it in the tape player. "Isn't this a great beat?" asked Donald, snapping his fingers to the music. "It's good, but it's not exactly the right kind of music for Tu B'Shvat," said Ben. "Here's a tape that the group leader left for us." Ben put the tape into the player. "We can teach you the special dance that goes to this music," said Seth. "It's called the Hora. We can all practice it together." "Hey," said Donald as everyone danced. "This is fun." At lunchtime, the children shared their sandwiches with Donald. Then came story time. "Would you read us this one?" asked Leah, handing him a book. "Sure," said Donald, but when he opened the book, he was very surprised. "What kind of letters are these?" he asked. "You're holding the book upside down," said Leah. "The book is written in Hebrew. Don't you know how to read Hebrew?" she asked. Donald shook his head. "I'll show you how to write your name," said Leah. Then she showed Donald how to write his name in Hebrew letters on the blackboard. Donald tried to copy the letters himself. It wasn't as easy as Leah made it look. "That's a good try," said Seth, "but I think we'd better head over to the tree planting contest now." Donald reluctantly put the chalk down and led the group over to the tree planting field. "It looks so different now," exclaimed Donald when he saw the field he had visited that morning. The ground was soft and moist, with evenly spaced rows ready to be planted with seedlings. Everyone was quiet as David began to speak. "Not so long ago, Israel was the land of crumbling rocks and scattered bushes," he said. "When people first settled here, they all worked together to plant trees and bring water to the barren hills. Now those trees are big and strong. In a few years, the seedlings we are planting today will create a new forest of trees. Each person may now choose a row and begin to plant," said David. "The one who plants the most seedlings gets to name the new grove." This time Donald worked as hard as the others. He was finally starting to understand what made a kibbutz so special. "It's about sharing," thought Donald, remembering how the children had shared their knowledge and even their lunches with him. "And it's about working together and helping others get jobs done." Before he knew it, the contest was over. Donald was sure that he had won. After counting all the seedlings, David announced, "The winner is none other than our hard-working guest." Donald puffed himself up. "Grandma Duck," said David. Everyone cheered and clapped. Donald tried not to look too disappointed as Grandma shook David's hand. "I've already picked out a name for the grove," Grandma declared. "I think it should be named after the person who tried the hardest today. That's why I'm calling it Donald's Woods." Donald couldn't believe his ears. "Do you mean it?" he asked. "You deserve it, Donald," replied Grandma. "I've never seen you work so hard." Suddenly the band began to play. Rebecca took Donald by the hand. "Come on," she said. "It's time to dance the hora." Grandma grabbed Donald's other hand. "Isn't Israel a wonderful place to take a vacation?" she called to Donald. "It sure is," replied Donald. "I can't remember when I've had such a good time." Did you know? There are many different customs and places that make each country special. Do you remember some of the things below from the story? A kibbutz is an Israeli community where everyone lives and works together and shares everything equally. All members of the kibbutz share housing and food, as well as education and medical care. On many kibbutzim, children live together in children's houses, and they see their parents after school and on weekends. Jerusalem, the capital city of Israel, is actually two cities. Old Jerusalem is an ancient walled town of colorful markets, narrow alleys, and old churches and temples. New Jerusalem is a modern city with tall buildings, a university, beautiful parks, and museums. Israel's Dead Sea is the saltiest body of water in the world. Since salt causes water and people and objects to become buoyant, people can float with ease in the salty Dead Sea. However, it is almost impossible to dive underwater. Give up, Donald. Using irrigation and other modern farming methods, the Israelis have turned their desert land into a farmland rich with fruits, vegetables, grain, and cotton. Jerusalem's biblical zoo is a favorite attraction for children. It is unique in that nearly 100 animals mentioned in the Bible are found here. On Tu B'Shvat, or New Year for trees, people plant thousands of trees all over Israel to celebrate the arrival of spring. The Hebrew language is written and read from right to left. To someone like Donald, this seems like reading and writing backwards. In the desert regions, camels are still a popular means of transportation. These amazing humped animals can go as long as 10 days in the hottest weather without a drink of water. Shalom is a special word in Hebrew. It means peace and is used instead of hello or goodbye.